Oh, okay. Froze up again. Come on. Yeah, wait a minute. Okay. Hi. So, we did Disneyland Adventures. We did one of the parts of the Princess Fancy Fair. And it was a relatively short video, so I'm like, yeah, let's leave it at that. Um, kind of jealous because I think that we've got Duffy Bear on the one that I was just playing, and we don't have Duffy Bear on the other one. Um, so I am determined to get to the end of the street today. Only problem with getting to the end of the street is that then we have to go back and go from the very end there to the very end over there. But as long as we get there, you know? So I was pretty much on time today, which is good. Um, I woke up not feeling like I wanted to actually go on stream today, but I did anyway. And now we're doing this. I actually got. That's not what I clicked on. I've gotten 53 chapters done. And I'm now working on page 211. So I'm pretty happy. I had the goal of getting to page 250 yesterday. That wasn't a realistic goal. Then I kind of reworked it to where um, it was page 225. Well, I don't know if that was a realistic goal, but that didn't happen either. So yeah, I'm on two. I'm just about to um, start. Well, I started 211. I just need to finish it. But still, it's pretty good. I was just thinking, like, if I could get, there's only a few days of, um, November left, you know? So if I could get to page 250 yesterday, then I could get to page 300 today, and then I could get to page, 350 the next day, and then, um, finish to the end of the book the next day. And obviously that didn't work, but we're still, um, I'm still working on the book. And like I said, I was trying to get it done by December 1st because, being able to order the book and all that for Christmas probably would have been a good thing. But try and drink some water. that's not really helping either, is it? Helped a little bit. Um, but yeah, I had the you know, I think unrealistic goal of. So anyway, if I could get to um if I can get to finishing this book by Christmas, I'll be happy. That gave me a little bit longer to work on it because, in the morning, 3 hours is dedicated to this. And then the rest of the day, um, I've got furry distractions, because I got 3 cats. I got furry distractions. A lot of days I mean, not a lot of days, but, every weekend I have my husband home, so, yeah. But I'm going to try my hardest to get to 300 by the end of the month. Page 300. I'm going to try my hardest to get to page 300 by the end of the month. And we got 7 days left, I guess. Today's the 23rd, and I mean, it could be that I get to the part and I'm like not so distracted and I just get it done. But it actually takes a long time, and it wouldn't have taken as long except for that I thought I was at one part of the story and I was actually at a later part of the story yesterday, so I was trying to like do the work for the same bit of chapter that I'd already done twice. This is me in the mornings in the winter. I know it's not officially winter. No, it might be officially winter. Or is that? No, that's December 21st. Anyway, the only thing stopping me today is that I've got to do some laundry. My husband says he needs clothes. Of course, I need some laundry too because I gotta figure out what the heck I'm gonna wear on Thanksgiving that is not gonna be too, not gonna be too warm while I'm over there, but not gonna be too cold outside the house. Going from the house to the truck and the truck to the in-laws' house. Now, I thought it was pretty dang cool. One of the restaurants I don't like eating at because they can't do breakfast to save their life, according to me, I didn't like the way they did breakfast. Of course, I'm used to Denny's, so, maybe it's just that they cook it, um, they cook it different. Okay. But, I just don't like the way that they cooked it. But they're doing Thanksgiving dinner, and most people cannot mess up Thanksgiving dinner. So I was like, we should go and try this. But we can't really do that. We can't afford it. So we came up with apparently Genio still does the um well, technically it says Jenny O on the box, but I don't know if it's Jenny or Jeannie. Whatever. Anyway, they do um or at least according to that uh video I saw the other day, but I could have sworn it was Jeannie. But anyway, whatever. Um they still do the turkey that they used to have, the turkey loaf slices in a box. They used to have it that way. Now it's in a bag. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I guess they're going to heat those up, and that's what we're going to have for Thanksgiving. And I keep trying to convince my husband that we need to go and buy olives and all that stuff. And I don't know if we just don't have money or if it's I don't know if it's that we don't have enough money to do that, or if it's, oh, we could do it later, we could do it later, we could do it later. And then it's like that one year when we were trying to find, um, we were trying to find a bottle of Welch's red grape cider. Well, actually, I don't know if we knew that it was Welch's that we were looking for. But anyway, we were looking for red grape cider or any kind of cider. I think that's the year that we found red grape cider. Anyway, um, we don't drink. So we're like, what do we drink instead? And, came up with cider. But I don't like it as just straight up apple cider. And I actually like the red grape even better than the apple cider. So, um, I'm not one of those people, the sparkling apple cider, from Martinelli. I think it's Martinelli's. Um, but I like the Welch's red grape even better. But I'm not one of those people that actually likes drinking hot apple cider. I just don't like it. If it tasted like the inside of a apple pie, that would be one thing. But every time I've had apple cider is uh-uh. I used to like hot cocoa, but then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but it started tasting less like hot cocoa and more like hot water. I don't know. Anyway, it's like I want to take a day off right now. I really do. So I can get more of this build done. And I can't do that. I need to work on, I need to work on my book so it can be out for this Christmas. Although the problem is that The problem with getting it out for this Christmas is that there's the issue of you can order it this Christmas, but it's not going to get there until January. Probably. Um, but the reason is because you can't just go, well, it depends on what part of the world you're in, I think, and whether you have the um Amazon I can't think of what it's called. A- um Amazon Plus is coming to mind. Amazon Fast Pass is coming to mind. The specific buzzword for Amazon is not coming to mind. But when you can get the 2 day shipping or and I want that back. I don't have that right now because we can't afford it, but I want it back. Never works on my orders though, or at least it doesn't seem to. Used to every single time. When I was ordering other people's books, it would every single time be, just within a few days. Amazon Prime, that's what it's called. Although I've got to admit that I was upset at the guy last time because, yeah, he put it on my porch. But first of all, it sounds like he threw it down. And I want to say this guy was, I want to say he was at least 6 foot tall. It sounded like he dropped it from full height from above his head. It sounded like it. I don't think that's what happened. He probably just went over there and tossed it, but you should not be tossing people's packages. You should be placing them nicely. Um, because you don't know if that's a book or if it's, a precious thing like, a coffee mug to give to somebody for Christmas. I mean, obviously they're different shapes, but, just saying. Or if it's maybe, I would hope that they'd be in a box, but, string lights for your tree. And you just busted them. Okay, so as if I haven't given you enough teasers for this specific book, the next part, Sean has volunteered. Remember, I said he was spying on Ashley and her date. Sean has volunteered to take Ashley home, and Ashley is not happy about it. So they're like arguing all the way to the the stop sign at the halfway point. And what the heck? And that's when disaster happens. All of a sudden they see this limo, because he stops at the stop sign like a good driver should. And um okay. So he stops at the stop sign, and all of a sudden they see this limo, and it parks right in front of them, and some men start to get out, and then Ashley goes, "Aren't you gonna back up and try to get away?" And that's when he discovers he is out of gas. I actually changed part of my story, because one of the parts, um, one of the parts, I had everybody having a gas car because they hadn't invented Tesla yet. I didn't know that was a thing. So, I wrote it as everybody's got gas cars. Well, then I decided, if he's rich, he's probably got a Tesla car. So how would I work that out? And I worked it out that Justin lies and says that his car needs charging, and Ashley goes and whispers in his ear, "You told me you charged it before you got here, so you'd be able to take me home later." It's an hour drive from town to Ashley's house. We're not entirely sure where Justin lives because I've never figured out, I've never built that in Minecraft here. It wasn't really important. She just goes out with him once and that's it. Well, I was thinking this morning that we probably ought to figure out where he lives, because where does he live? It's just a thing that I want to know where he lives. So, yeah. Anyway, we're determined to get as many of these houses done as possible. But specifically, I want to get to the end of the street that way, and then we can get to the end of the street that way, and hopefully, I don't see that happening, like it being done by the end of the year, but maybe. I mean, every 7 days there is a Monday. I mean, every week there's a Monday, and that means I get to do this for 3 hours. So, we get as many houses done as we can. Unless I decide to go and work on the lighthouse or something. Which I think looks pretty cool. One of these days, we'll have that mountain over there done. And yeah. What I need to do is figure out the middle part. I need to figure out the middle part for, the exact middle of the mountain, and build the foundation at the very least for the for the mansion up there. It used to be a mansion. For the majority of the storyline, though, it's a bed and breakfast by Morgan's grandma. And various family members help help her out from time to time. And at some point, Jesse, Chantel, and their family pretty much are they're the sole owners of the bed and breakfast, and so they're running it. And at one point, there's a mouse running around. It's a minor scene. Nothing to do with, like an ongoing problem. But there's a mouse, and I'll think of it. Lily, I think it is, has her cat Tasha, and her cat sees that mouse, catches it, kills it, and drops it at Jesse's feet or Sean's feet. I think it's Sean's feet. But Tasha was actually on leash until Lily accidentally let go. I mean, she was on leash then too, but Lily wasn't attached to the leash, so. See, there I go, overthinking how things are said. Because I don't like it when there's a book and, it's like Nancy and Ned went to the restaurant, and then, Nancy and Ned went into the restaurant, went to the restaurant. Ned goes and gets out and goes over to Nancy's side, lets her out, and they walk into the restaurant. Well, technically, you assume that, you assume that they shut the doors, locked them, and they went into the restaurant to go order the pizza. But you never read that they, shut the doors, locked up the car, and went in to order the pizza. So it's like, it's just assumed. And I don't like assumptions. It's not okay. I mean, because that's along the lines of people assume that you're smart because you wear glasses. People assume that you're stupid because you're a woman with blonde hair. And I don't know if it's natural, but Jennifer Aniston, I think it was supposed to be very, very smart, and she's got blonde hair. But like I said, I don't know if it's natural or not. I'm just questioning it because because she is a Hollywood celebrity. Um, because like for the longest time, everybody just assumed that Madonna was actually a blonde, and turns out she had brown hair. So anyway, not the point here. Anyway, I want to get this done. At least this side of the street done. And then we can work on other things. Like my story and the laundry and whatever. Oh, I wanted to put up the Christmas tree today. I know, seems really weird to put up a Christmas tree when it's not even Thanksgiving yet. But we've got a very nice artificial tree. I love it. It's actually green and all that, and I want to put up the Christmas tree. Because I think last year we put it up 2 weeks into December. I kept expecting my husband to help me with it, and he didn't, so he had to help me with the Christmas lights, so. This time I know that he's got weekends off. So I'm like, if we put it up now, then we can at least have the Christmas tree, We may not be able to afford presents this year. And really the only presents that I'm asking for, I mean, I probably have a long list that I've said. I know of uh 2 things that I asked that I want for Christmas. But I think there was a third. I want the tablets. Oh, yeah, there was a third. So I want the tablets. I want the 2 there's 2 golf with your friends courses that I still need to get. And um and most important to me is Wish Blossom Ranch for Dreamlight Valley. Most people call it Disney Dreamlight Valley, but technically it's not a Disney title. It's Disney themed, but it's not a Disney title. So I was like, I was thinking if Gameloft wanted to work on it, they could make um, a Harry Potter Dreamlight Valley. They could make um, Super Mario Brothers Dreamlight Valley. Although there's not very many characters for I mean, there's a lot of characters, but there's not like a ton that would keep you going for years, kind of thing. But like, they could do Super Mario Brothers. They could do Pokemon. Um would I play all of those? Not necessarily, but um I mean, I would definitely play the Harry Potter, and I might play the Super Mario Brothers. But um Pokemon probably not. Just saying. But there's a whole bunch of people who would. I'm just saying, there's a whole bunch of people who would. There's still people collecting the cards, and like this card is $100 and this card over here is $1,000. You never know. Apparently I didn't know this. Apparently you're supposed to buy the cards, open them up, and hope to God that the set that you got has, the $1 million card. I don't know if there's a $1 million card, but you know what I mean. The holy grail of Pokemon cards. Well, I cannot afford to do that, and B, I'm just not interested. But if you are, I'm not faulting you. I'm not saying that's stupid. To, well, to me, it kind of is stupid. Spending all your hard-earned money on some cards. But people used to do that with baseball cards, and they're making like $1,000 a card sometimes. So is it really stupid? No. But really, I'm not gonna pick on you just because you like Pokemon. That's what you like. And I happen to like Disney and Minecraft and. Yeah, that's another thing that they could do. They're. Oh, they're always coming out with new mobs. They could come out with um, a Minecraft Dreamlight Valley. So I don't just do video games. Do, I write books, and I just thought I'd throw that in here right now. Um, they are available on Amazon in hardback, paperback, and ebook. And really, my phone had to put its 2 cents in. They are The Rolling Sea Beginnings Book 1, Pirate's Daughter, The Rolling Sea Beginnings Book 2, Misfortune, The Rolling Sea Beginnings Book 3, Hard Times. The Rolling Sea Beginnings. I mean, well, coming soon, hopefully before July, before the end of July, will be the Rolling Sea Beginnings Book 4, Finding Love. And then later in the series, already published, is the Rolling Sea Traitor Book 1, Esperanza's Party, the Rolling Sea Traitor Book 2, The Island, and the one that I'm working on right now is is the Rolling Sea Traitor Book 3, Lessons in Love, and I'm hoping to have that out. I'm hoping to have it out by December 1st, but I really think I'm going to need until Christmas to get it done. Because, kitty cats are hungry, kitty cats are thirsty, husbands are needy with laundry and sometimes in-laws need, help to doctor's appointments, and there's seemingly a million zillion YouTube videos to watch. Oh my goodness. Actually, I've been listening to a lot of them and, just looking up every once in a while to see what's going on. Okay. See, technically, I do this a little different almost every time I do this, so, it's not that bad. Okay. No, yesterday I was like, I need a break. But I got it done. And the reason why I need a break is because I'm having burnout with my story, for one. But for two, it's because I gave myself a deadline. I don't usually do that. Um, so, I give myself a deadline. And I don't usually do that, but I was like, it would be great if everybody could buy this for their loved ones for Christmas. And, if you get the physical copies, it gets people off their devices. It gets your family and friends, whoever you gave it to, off their devices for a little while. But if you get the ebook, at least they're not on a video game. this is making me want to go give my daughter and my son a hug. And they just live way too far away for that. Hopefully my son will see this and, they'll give each other a hug or something. Okay, so in a not awkward way. They kind of like, I don't know, the way our son's always talking is like he doesn't interact with anybody outside of, his video game. So, yeah. I mean, he's got friends, he really does, but okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7. And we're gonna not necessarily, I was trying to tell Luke that I didn't necessarily want to put these houses in here. And we started putting them in anyway. I think it was a we. I'm pretty sure it was a we. Started putting them in anyway. And oh, no, we have 6. Because that one's already bamboo. That's even better. Only having 6. That is even better. But now we have to go and boop, boop. Wrong spot, but you get what I'm talking about. Okay. I need to come up with a snack that doesn't go crunch. So or even a breakfast that doesn't go crunch. Oops. Ooh. Hello. There you go. So somebody said something on one of their videos yesterday, and it reminded me, or it made me think that they were talking about, I think it was Loverfella. He does Minecraft videos. He said something, and it made me think that maybe he has seen the movie The Sound of Music. But I thought it was very, well, for me, it's kind of distressing because, like, I've been watching that movie all my life, pretty much. He did not know what Bedknobs and Broomsticks was. And if you don't know what it is, please look it up. It's an Angela Lansbury movie. And she is trying to learn how to be a witch. And it's a live action, and it's like during the time when um I think it was during the time when the Germans were trying to take over um cuz I believe um I don't remember anybody's names except for Cosmic Creepers. So we'll call her Angela. Um um I believe Angela lived in Britain, and like the Germans were trying to take over, or somebody was anyway, but I want to say it was the Germans. Anyway, and it's probably based on a real war that really actually did happen and all that. Um History's just never really been my thing. Um Fictional stories about Robin Hood and his merry men, stuff like that. That's fine. Um, I love that kind of, I love reading about Robin Hood. But, when you're trying to tell me about some war that already happened, and you're trying to get me to remember stuff about it, no. Because it's not important enough to remember. I don't understand how I got out of school because I could never remember is, the war that you're asking about, the War of 1812, was it the Civil War? You know, I know the names of the wars, but I wouldn't be able to, draw a line from, um, draw a line around just, um, like if there was a description, and if there was a description list on the left and the names of the wars on the right, I don't think I'd be able to figure out which one was which. Either that, or like on Jeopardy, I'm a really good guesser. So some of that for Jeopardy is skill, and some of it is I'm a really good guesser. Jeopardy on Xbox, and I want to say the version I have is a Xbox One title. Yeah, I want to say it's an Xbox One title. And then, that's the problem. At the moment, um, I think my husband paid the mortgage, and that's it. We had like $50 left over after that. Um, and then he's gonna need to pay it for this month, and how are we gonna do that? I mean, I understand that he just started that job, but still. Well, maybe we'll get lucky. And, because there's another Friday, there's Friday right after Thanksgiving, so hopefully it'll be one of those things where he can pay, this month, this much now and this much later, or hold on to that in savings until, you know, the next week or something. But I don't see how we're going to catch up. And I so far don't have a way to get a job, so um you know, I want to apply to places that, since he's got the car all day, that I can walk to. And the problem with that is that there's not a whole lot of places that are within walking distance. That there's like no places within walking distance that might hire me because I've already tried. Although I might try again with Office Depot because maybe I don't know, maybe something was going on that day, or maybe they've got new management or something. I don't know. Because it seems awfully weird until I said that I don't write children's books, which is no longer true. But until I said I don't write children's books, he seemed like he wanted to hire me. And then as soon as I said that, he shut down and he's like, "Okay, well, we'll see if you get called back." And I did not like that idea. I mean, it's not like I'm all the way to a romance novel. Uh, anyway, so, um, okay. So, if you're watching me on Twitch right now, please follow and chat. And if you're watching me on YouTube right now, please like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell, and please get those valid public watch hours up, because I think as soon as I'm done with this roof, we're going to end the stream and start another one. Because you seem to like shorter videos than longer videos. So I'm not sure though, because there's like some longer videos that have views, and then there's some shorter and then a lot of the shorter videos have views. So it's like, is it the content or is it the shortness of the video? I don't know. Okay. This is annoying, and it has to be done this way only because I want them to be up like this. Okay. We go around to catch all the little problems. Okay. Because literally, that's why we do that, is to make sure that there's no problems. Where the bamboo's sticking out, or something something worse, like you had it like this, and then the next one is like that, because I don't want it that way. Maybe I will make a house like that on purpose sometime, but where like the whole entire thing is um every other one is up and every other one is sideways. But I don't think I'm wanting to do that. So, yesterday, I found out that the game buzzer sound that I've been using for my sister's texts isn't available anymore. And I'm upset about it, because that's the way that I know that it's my sister. Well, now I've got a different sound, and I'm just going to have to get used to it. But it is not that one that you keep hearing. That's just a generic, if you keep hearing. That's just a generic, you got notification sound. So, the internet has been a lot better. It went out like once or twice yesterday, and that was about it. And that was with two of us on Xboxes. Well, I wasn't on Xbox most of the time, actually, because I was working on my story, but to start out with, it was both of us on our Xboxes, and he was talking to friends. It's like, on the one hand, I like that he's, talking to friends, that he's got some friends, but when we all get together to play GTA, or anything else, but, that's what we usually end up playing when we all get together. He can conveniently hear everybody on the chat except for me. Or, everybody in the chat can hear everybody except for me. And it's like, the problem is that, it says, go to Zancudo. And I'm like, I don't know where Zancudo is. So that's part of the reason why on Thursdays I go and make the video where I'm running around on the map doing the little things, like like taking the nightclub guy to the hospital and photoing the animals so I can try to learn where these places are. It's not working, but, I'm still trying. Okay, so... So sometime in the middle of the night, I had to get up and go upstairs. And when I came back, Bobby came to visit. But I was like so tired that I really couldn't um pet her all that much, and she ended up jumping down. I was so thinking, poor baby. Okay. It's like if she wanted pets during the day like a normal cat. She's not a normal cat, but she they adopted her when she was 4 months old, so she was a cat then. But then I think they got Misty first. Oh, and they already had Lena. No, so yeah, maybe, or did they? No, cause, okay, maybe they didn't. Cause I know that. Yeah, so anyway, I think Misty was the first dog that she was around, but anyway, she got used to her. And then somewhere in there they got Lucy, and then they got Ari. Um, Ariel. I don't know why they just. Well, I do know why, because when Sebastian says it on the movie The Little Mermaid, he says Ariel. He does not say Ariel. He says Ariel. So, I couldn't. I. Oh, I thought somebody was pounding on our door. It's just the, heater starting up. And yes, I can tell the difference. Especially when the house is nice and quiet like this. You know what? I said I was going to get off and... Nah, never mind. We'll just go to the end. I mean go to the end of the video, not go to the end. I actually don't know how to get to the end. I know it has something to do with that one brick and the Eyes of Ender, but that's about it. So this world actually is not a super flat. Um, this is a regular world, and I started it up, and then I built it into what looks like a super flat. And one of these days, we'll have enough of the track done that we can do a full tour. But right now, we don't have that ability. Because apparently, I thought I went and all the way to I thought I went all the way to the 10th Street, and apparently I didn't. Like I've got the, um, hold on. Yeah, I've got this all the way up to a certain spot, and then it just stops. So eventually I will go and put all that in, and we'll be able to do a full tour, which I think would be pretty dang cool. Well, I wanted to get the 14 done anyway, so I said that at the beginning of the video. I wanted to get the 14 done. If we get any more houses done, then even better, but still. Um, but yeah, I think we'll end it when we get to the 14, and then if there's any time left to make more videos, then we'll make a separate video. How many do we got left? 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like. I think that is really cool. The other day I was watching one of those videos, something about, 80s TV episodes that traumatized 80s kids or something like that, right? Um, Although this one would have been in the 90s. One of the episodes was, Will's dad comes around all of a sudden and wants to hang out with him again. He's never been the dad type, but like all of a sudden he wants to hang out and do stuff, and they plan to go away for the summer together, and then he'll be back to go to college again when the summer's over. But of course, Dad comes up with some other thing to do with the business. Um, and Will basically, I'm not saying like a little kid, but he basically throws a fit that, his dad doesn't want him. And I was watching that video and it said that, Will Smith really didn't know what to do with that scene. And um, I think it was the guy who plays the uncle. They kind of talked, and he said, um, he gave help, a help that, you know, do do it, do it a certain way, and I think Will Smith pulled it off perfectly. And then the rumor is that the guy who plays the uncle said that is the way you do it. Except for that he said it, with bad words in there. And I'm like, that is awesome. You didn't know how to do something, but you did it, and, everybody remembers that scene now. Everybody who's seen that show remembers that scene. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Will Smith was on a TV show called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So he's a kid from Philadelphia who was getting beat up just for, trying to play basketball on the playground. And so his mom sent him to um to Bel Air with his uncle because hopefully that wouldn't happen. And as far as I could tell, it didn't. I've been sneezing all day today. That was one of those sneezes that you gotta like encourage it to come. And well, anyway. Um so when I'm saying comment, it doesn't have to be something to do with the video. Um, I keep saying it could be something as little as what you had for breakfast this morning. You know, I don't mind whatever you want to comment. Um, as long as it's nice. Um, I we don't really like negativity over here. But like if you need to talk about something and don't mind putting it out on the internet for all to read, you know, I'm good with that too. Like maybe you got a case of the holiday blues you know, where maybe your mom went on her extended vacation in 2021 and you just need somebody to talk to. Or or maybe not something that dire. Maybe you're just saying, "Hey, my kid won the swim meet," and you just have to tell somebody or you'll burst. But you don't have that many friends, so you've already told all of your friends, and you're still at that. I might burst if I don't tell somebody. You know. I would be totally happy that your kid won the swim meet and be happy right along with you. I feel like I don't have that many friends, but the ones I do have are very special to me. And like I said, my sister is like my bestest best friend in the whole world. And I don't know if I tell her that enough, but surely is. So it makes me kind of sad that we're both so busy. I mean, it makes me sad but happy all at the same time that we're so busy that we're not texting each other as much anymore. Oops. Of course, it makes me sad that we don't have all the family anymore. We used to get together and we do Christmas at we do the whatever Christmas Eve thing at my dad's house because all of a sudden mom decided that we needed to have a Christmas dinner that was just us. There um my dad, my mom, me and my brother and my sister. Um Different sister than the one I was just talking about. Um Anyway, we needed to have a nice Christmas Eve dinner. Well, the problem is that I always went over to my um, grandparents' house where Mama was, so we could do Christmas Eve so we could do Christmas over there, and you know, it was really hard when when Mom decided that we needed to have Christmas Eve dinner all together. It's like you weren't thinking when you came up with that, were you? I I I loved it though. It's like I really loved it, but it it made for I can only go over at a certain time and um like I could only go over at a certain time like we had to have that um y- we had to have it like either after that dinner or something, and I can't remember. But, whatever the deal was, that's what it had to be. And, when you have a divorced family, it's kind of, it's good and bad all at the same time. Because, you know, like, like, grandparents that were born in 1928 and 1932, of course they're going to pass away eventually. And so I ran out of all my original grandparents. And, you know, because of mom, I had two more grandparents. But then yesterday, um, Miss Life on the Farm, because I totally forget what her name is, she was over there saying, I and yeah, I understand what she was saying. It's just execution was lacking on, with me. Her saying it and me watching it wasn't working because like if you are in a marriage that isn't working, you ought to be able to have a way out, in my opinion. Like especially if your husband or wife, in Johnny Depp's case, if it was like all sunshine and roses at first, and then one spouse or the other decided to, start hitting, that's not okay. And I think there ought to be a way out, even if God did put that together. But, like she's basically saying, um, she didn't say those words, but she's basically saying it like God hates divorce. And it's like, well, God knows who you should have married in the first place. And if, literally, if my mom had not gotten divorced, then I would not have my sister that I play video games with all the time. I would not have my brother. And, I wouldn't have any sisters or brothers. So I might not have any kind of friends. Because, I just don't make friends easily. And after that whole Tahoe thing, I don't trust a whole lot of people. I hate to be like that, but I don't trust a whole lot of people. But for her to go and say, that, like, she's talking like it was evil. And I just don't necessarily feel that way. Because so much good came out of that. Because when I ran out of of, all four of my original grandparents, I still had two left. Now, I'm down to one again, but at least I have the one. And I personally think that she's got staying power, so. that she'll probably be around at least until she's 90 something, so I hope. I think my my dad's mom, Grandma Kane, was 92, and I don't know how old Grandpa was, but he was up there too. And then Grandma and Grandpa Sjogren, um, they were at least in their 80s, and I think Grandpa was in his 80s when he went uh, almost a year ago. Dang. It literally seems like it was just, like it was just a month ago. It doesn't seem like it was that long, but it was almost a year ago. Wow. That's crazy. And I assumed they had a funeral, and we weren't going to be able to go there. So I'm kind of feeling upset that I didn't get to go, but, you know, I understand that we weren't going to be able to do 2 trips in 1 month. Yeah, so if my in laws ask me what I want for Christmas, I think I'm going to say an Xbox card. I usually say an external hard drive because, I need external hard drives. Um, for you who don't know what that is, it's an extra brain for the computer. It's for some of you, it's the extra storage container to hold the stuff. You know. Um, it's more pockets, and yeah, I can think of all kinds of different ways to explain it for non-tech people. You would think that a whole bunch of people would know, but my dad doesn't know that it's also called a USB. He calls it a thumb drive. So let's put it that way. And you would think that my dad would be more tech savvy than that, but he's in his 60s or something like that. So, wait, is he in his? Okay, yeah, I think he's in. Okay, I have to do math now, which means go on the phone and do the calculator this time because I don't want to take up that much. Oh, okay. Um, my dad will be 70 in February. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize that. It's like your dad, he always seems like the most intact person, eh, like he's going to live forever. And then you realize he's 70, you know, and that's like, wow. So you're like, one, ask him to help you fix your car, and you realize that's not going to happen. Because I always still think of my dad as that person who could fix just about anything. Um, that the one who put a medicine light on to remind me to to remind me to take my medicine, wanted me to stay alive, because like if you get in, I'm just using this as an example. I don't know if that I ever got an ear infection, but like you get an ear infection, you have to take amoxicillin, like twice a day three or three times a day or whatever it was, and um, I was fine with the taste. My daughter, on the other hand, did not want to take that stuff. She's like, this is nasty, this is gross. And so I just assume that bubblegum is not her flavor. But the Tabasco colored stuff, or at least that's why I called it, it's kind of brown. Um, but whatever it was, they figured it out. And I never memorized what medicine that was. I was just grateful that it was the other one. And it's so dumb. I need to, like, I needed to have written that down. I almost want to go to, uh, Kaiser and ask them, do you still have our records? Because I want to know what this medicine is. Because, if people's kids don't like that specific flavor, then they can go and ask for this other one. Um, but I am not a doctor, so these are recommendations. These are not, you have to follow them or anything like that, obviously. And it may not even be like that now. There may be a third choice. I have no idea. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Need to get 3 of these done, and then we can stop. Anyway, I would really love it if everyone would start buying my books, and even if you're getting, even if you're giving it away to that one person on your Christmas list that has read everything else in sight and you're just trying to give them another option because they haven't read my stuff yet, then, that would be something. I appreciate every single book sale I make, but it would be good if it was a income instead of a, oh yeah, I get money in December. It would be nice if it was a regular income. I really only want to make, for, as a actual goal, I would like to make like, 2 to 4 thousand a month from my book sales. You know, not too much, not too little. And I'd probably be able to help. I mean, I would definitely be able to give at least 1,000 to helping out um, the people that have to use the food bank, especially now because they were talking about shutting down, or they did, stuff like food stamps and and WIC and all that stuff that people rely on because things cost so much they can't afford that stuff. And it's not just the smokers who are spending, like at least $300 on cigarettes every month. I'm pretty sure it's way more than that. Or, those people that think that they've got to have their alcohol, it's not just those people. It's people like me and my husband who don't smoke, don't drink, don't do drugs, and just could not afford it. Could not afford food and the bills. Because you gotta have money for, at that time, you have to have money for rent. You have to have money for the electricity if that's not included in the rent. We did actually have a place that it was included. You have to pay the gas bill. Yeah. Some places you have to pay water and garbage. Um, you gotta have internet nowadays. You've gotta have a telephone. You gotta pay for all that stuff. And some people have car payments. It's ridiculous. There was just a really weird noise in our house. Or maybe next door. Not sure which. The walls are kind of thin here. See, the thing is that if we get to have I think it's the neighbor. Anyway, if we get to have a piece of land and build our very own house on it to where it's got everything that we want, which for me includes, I know it sounds silly, but I want a small movie theater. And I think it would be really cool have a small movie theater. It's only got like 50 seats in it. Or maybe it's less. But anyway, it's I want the movie theater that I want a copy of the movie theater in South Lake Tahoe. It's one of the first two on the left when you start going down the hall to go find the one that your movie's in. At Heavenly Village Cinema. Anyway, it's a small movie theater. It's not very big, but it's big enough. I don't need. I think it's Theater 3 at the end of the hall, where it's huge. And actually, Sacramento's got one, if it's still there. It's got one that's even bigger than that. It had one that if you were watching, like say you were watching the movie Grease, at the end where they're singing "You're the One That I Want," you'd have to be looking. You couldn't just look dead ahead of you. You had to look, you know, do a panoramic kind of watch it thing. And I don't know what we watched there either. I know that we went with, Mom took us to her friend Tana's house because she lived in Sacramento at the time. I think. I think that's what it was. Pretty sure it was Tana's house, and we all went to the movie theater. And this movie theater was huge. It was like watching a drive-in, but bigger and indoors. It was like watching, like maybe Captain EO. It was a huge screen. Captain EO was at Disneyland. Or, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. That was in the same, spot as Captain EO. It took over. I liked Captain EO. And in fact, right now, somebody has a copy of the Captain EO video. I think it says Star Wars though, but it's not it's not really Star Wars. It's Captain EO. But anyway, they've got that on YouTube right now. And so far, it's one of those that they haven't taken back off again. So I assume it's a person's video and that they don't do spring cleaning. They've got like the 2,000 videos or whatever I've got. I'm not bragging about 2,000 videos. The thing is that I love making videos and I just go and show you what I'm going to play the game anyway, right? So I just go and show you what I'm doing that day. And so it ends up being a lot of videos, a lot. But, and like, every time I play Disneyland Adventures, it seems like something goes even better than it did last time. So I'm really happy about that. I got dang lucky on the Jungle Cruise because one of the things that I get to do on there, I can never do. You're supposed to go down a certain spot, and I had to time it just right. I think it's on the third part, and you have to time it just right and go right at that point. And and if you do, you get the hidden Mickey, and if you don't, you're like, well, where's the last one? So anyway, I got dang lucky on that one. It only took me like 2 tries, or was it 4 tries? But anyway, it didn't take me very many tries to do it. I think I looked it up on somebody's video, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's this one. And I knew I had to turn right at a certain point. And anyway, we got dang lucky because it didn't take very long to do. I thought we were going to be there for like 3 hours. But it didn't take very long. But I don't know what I'm gonna do when I do go and do the Haunted Mansion, because I know that the one thing, I don't know how to do it anymore. Okay, so there we go. And that's the one where I used to try to play it nicely because it says don't use the lights because, the ghosts aren't going to like that, um and you're supposed to use the lights, but I didn't know that. In fact, you're supposed to try to get the crystal balls and One of the crystal balls is in the piano room. Okay, so I've got 2 more houses to go, but I have to go upstairs, so I will be back in just a moment. Okay, I'm the almost back? No, I am back. Okay. I'm just going to pull this out now. So, I don't know why, but we have the bathroom window slightly open. Okay. It's on the second floor before you decide, ooh, we can break in. um, anyway, I heard something. I didn't know what it was. But I think it was a dog. Because I heard another noise and it sounded like a dog. Well, then I kept hearing what sounds like our dryer running. Hope it's the neighbors. Because if it's our dryer, there's a big problem because I haven't done laundry yet. I gotta do some kind of laundry because he's out of laundry, he says. Probably just means he's out of pants because, he doesn't have very many pairs. I've got even less, I think. Like, I have some pants, but they're like leggings or, or sweats. But I don't think I have any actual jeans. That go full length. Because something always goes wrong with them. Like, because I get the stretchy kind because, they fit better. I get the stretchy kind. And, and, you always get a hole in an inconvenient spot. So, if they could come up with a way to make them stretchy but not get holes in them, then, because you're, walking around in them or whatever, that'd be great. Um, okay, so for right now, we've been having the problem of 74 is too cold, 76 is too hot, and 75 is a little too hot too. So it's like very confusing. It needs to be like 74 and a half or something. And obviously, thermostats deal in exact numbers, so it doesn't work. Okay. I can't believe it. We're almost done with the street. It's so awesome. Well, what else can we talk about today? Well, Thursday is Thanksgiving, and even if you have beans and rice, it's something, you know? Even if you don't have money for a turkey, but I don't know if I said that in this one, but Genio and the fresh pizza section at Walmart, um, they've both got Genio is the frozen, but it's already cut up into little turkey loaves, and I think they were in the bunker at the one Walmart that we went to. Um, we had to go. I think we had to go to two of them, but the one bunker um had the turkey loaves in a bag. It wasn't in the box like it used to be. I don't know what's wrong with the box because the box is more biodegradable than the uh plastic looking bag that they have it in now. But anyway, and then over by the um it's little convenience foods. You heat them up um and it's all good. Somewhere over there, but in this case it was over by the deli. They had turkey loaves like that too, and it was probably great value or market site or something like that. But um but they were there. So in case you don't know how to make a regular turkey, or you just don't have time for some reason, you do have that alternative. But when we were growing up, we always had the family baked beans, and we had the turkey, and I'm sure we had stuffing, but I never ate it. Um, I'll eat it now, but I never ate it then. I don't know, there was something about it I didn't like. Um, and I would never eat cranberry sauce either. But we always had cranberry sauce and olives and mashed potatoes. Um, foods that you don't usually get to have every day. Right now, I would be happy for some potato salad. Actually, I want ice cream. like, like, editing my book has been so stressful. I want ice cream. That's all I want. And it doesn't have to be fancy ice cream. It could be that ice cream from the food court um at Costco for All It Really Matters, which is a little cheaper than the ice cream that I would be getting at um because I think it's $2.69 or something like that at Costco, and you can have chocolate ice cream if you want. But I found out that it's got too much sugar for me. But the vanilla, that's just fine. And I don't care, as long as it's ice cream. And we don't have to have it, like all the time, like in a half gallon, um, in a half gallon container. I can't even, uh, get it out of that thing. I just want some ice cream. But I don't get paid from me buying my book until the end of December. Yeah. So recently, I think back in October, one of those two, um, we'll say, I called up, called up Amazon and was like, okay, this said that somebody bought one of my books and I still haven't gotten payment from it. And it turned out that it was a bogus claim that I had made a book sale, or something went wrong or something like that. Um, anyway, so I wasn't going to get paid from it. And I was so excited about it until I found that out. But there was a good news out of that whole thing. I found out, yes, I am able to receive payments from every single country that Amazon has to offer book sales to. So I'm good, you know. And I was like really happy about that. That answered my question, you know. So even though I'm not getting the money from that, and it would have been like $25 or something like that, um, even though I'm not getting the money, at least I have the satisfaction that if somebody did, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, from Japan or Ireland or Britain or, any of the other places, um, because those are the ones I remembered off the top of my head. I think Australia's in there. Um, if any of you want to buy one of my books, I can receive payments from it. So that is totally cool. And I love it. I'm all set up. I'm all ready to go. And I just have to get some book sales. Okay, now we're going to go around and make sure that everything's good. Did I do the roof? I don't know. We'll find that out in a minute. Yes, I did. You might be wondering why I look at the roof, and that's because it's got to be right too. Hey, awesome. Okay, we got one house left, and then next time we come on here, which will probably be tomorrow morning, unless I have that same issue that I did yesterday, and then I'll probably stop for a little bit this time because I don't want to jack up my wrist so bad that I can't use it without it hurting. And this seems to be working pretty good. It's not as wrist intensive as using my mouse, which is how I messed it up in the first place. Well, partially. Okay, so me and my husband were in a bowling club in summer of 97 or 98. I'm not sure which. I want to say 98 though. But anyway, in the summer, we were in a bowling club, and not bowling club, a bowling class for college. Where'd I get club from? Probably my, probably my thinking process was going, if it's fun, it's a club, and if it's not fun, it's a class. I don't know. But yeah, we're in a bowling class, and it was supposed to be getting our PE requirement out of the way, you know. But the problem is that one of the days, I need to throw an 8-pound bowling ball, and on one of the days they had the Boys and Girls Club or whatever it was called come in that day, and they grabbed all the small bowling balls, and I didn't have my own yet. Um, I think I always wanted to go bowling, but I kind of thought it was dorky at the same time. So anyway, we went and did the bowling class, and I fell in love with bowling. But when you have a wrist injury like I do, you can't do bowling very much. It's very wrist intensive. But anyway, so they had the little kids in, so I was supposed to be throwing a 10-pound bowling ball, and the teacher did not understand that I could not throw a 10-pound bowling ball. He seemed to be getting angry with me because I couldn't throw the ball. Anyway, I ended up doing it totally wrong that day, and I would not stop playing Roller Coaster Tycoon because my husband introduced me to that too. This was all before we were married, but he introduced me to that too, and so it didn't heal properly. And so because of that, it hurts in the winter a lot. Or like if I use the mouse too much. And of course, right now I'm trying to get the book done by December 1st. And it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm not trying to be a doomsayer. I'm just trying to be, realistic. I don't think it's gonna happen. Um, yeah. I did get a lot of the YouTube videos watched yesterday though, so that was a good thing. Um, I was I was watching them on the TV and marking them off the list on the computer. But the only problem with that is that I've got to use um so I'm using Speechalo to help me edit the book, because it reads it out loud to me. But also I've got to have the story open because because that's where I'm getting the material to make sure that the edits are correct. Um, it's just a process, and having YouTube open at the same time, it sometimes gets um, minimized without me actually hitting the go away for a minute button. Anyway, but it's you know, it's getting edited. It's just that we're on, I'm on page 211 instead of, 250 like I wanted to be yesterday, or 225 I was going to settle for. But then it was like bedtime and I'm like, I'm not staying up. I was tired. So, yeah, but I finally got to, a kind of exciting part again. Um, I had wanted to put together that, um, I wanted to put together that date between Ashley and Justin. And I want to put together the next part, but then want to, feels like have to when I have, when I put myself on a deadline like this. And it's driving me crazy. So, like, as much as I want to get published with a different company, I will probably stay with Amazon because I don't have to have a deadline. I've seen too many episodes of the TV show Murder She Wrote where she's saying, "I've got a deadline," and I'm like, I don't think I want that. In one of the episodes, she had somebody helping her, and I think I saw her on something else, but I can't remember what. But anyway, she was supposed to be a research assistant. Well, the only problem is that Jessica knew that what she had put on the paper was not true. She didn't know the exact details, which is why she had the research assistant look stuff up. But yeah, they came to the realization that she didn't. I mean, yeah, they came to the realization that the research assistant had not actually even researched it. She just like made something up or whatever. Okay. So all we have to do is finish this and we're good. See, that's the problem. I think we're going to get done with this and then I'm going to be like, well, we can do one more house. We're that close to 11. And oh, um yesterday's video for Will Fortune and Jeopardy ended up being evidence room post haste. I don't know if I spelled post correctly, but um for the title, I don't know if I spelled post. Um I don't know if it was supposed to have an E at the end or if it was just POST like it's supposed to be. I don't know. Okay, off the wall things that you think of when um, you're doing certain projects in Minecraft. If you take the letters in post, you can spell pots and um, stop and ops, OPTS. Spot, tops, and I hope I'm not helping any children with their homework. Or that I am. Not sure which. I'm hoping that I'm not helping any kids cheat on their homework by giving that information. But, if you just needed like one more and, one more word and you're like, oh yeah, then, I don't know if, oh, that might be ops, not ops. So, I don't know. Maybe that's a bad example. Um, I don't know. Yeah, see, right now I'm like, it's 10:45. Might as well do one more. Okay, so that's the acacia. That's this one. This color. Okay. Yeah, so I was gonna end when we were down to the end of the street, but we've got 15 minutes left. Why not? Oh, I know why not. And that's gonna take a lot longer than 15 minutes. Um, so one of the things we're doing tomorrow, apparently, is you see how this has no path and that has no driveway? We're going to be doing that. I just came up with that. because that's what we need to do. Hopefully, I'll come up with something more interesting to talk about tomorrow. Or maybe you think what I'm talking about right now is perfectly fine. I have no idea. Um, so we want to come up with enough money to get a dishwasher, but we gotta catch up on the mortgage first. Like, I would love it if for my husband's birthday we could um be all caught up on the you know like I could get enough money to catch us up on the mortgage, and then maybe we could save up the mortgage in the savings account, and then um save up the mortgage in the savings account, and take whatever's left over and pay bills, and still have some money to go and do something for his birthday. Although what he wants to do and what we have money for are two different things at the moment, because there was, I don't know if it's still there, but there was a Star Trek experience in Las Vegas, and that's only about 6 hours away from us. If that, if we go down the 365. Wait, 365? That doesn't sound right. 395. Yeah. That's what it is. 395. I didn't think 365 sounded right. That's a Microsoft product. um and okay, so I don't know if we're right or if word's right, but the way that I had my character say the one part of my story, I like it better as anymore a compound word, where you take two words like any and more and put them together to make one big word. Um, anyway, it was saying that it should be any space more. And I'm like, no. Because she's saying, oh, that's what it was. She was saying, I don't like to be interrupted any more than my mom does. And I figured that's compound word, not two different words. And it sounded funny when she said it with the two different words, but then when she put them together as compound word, then it said it correctly. So that there in a nutshell tells me that word was wrong on that one. I think. I'm still questioning it. Like, I want to go to the college and say, yeah, are any English teachers here today? And then, they'll say, yeah, they're in, this classroom, and I can go and ask them, but, and give the example that I gave. Anyway, I don't know. Okay, so I want to watch The Greatest Showman. We have it on DVD. I want to watch The Greatest Showman. Oh, or it's on Disney Plus. Just so everybody knows, It's on Disney Plus. It's part of the Plus, and I love it. Um, anyway, I want to watch that, but then I need to catch up on like 300 um video watch later videos, and yeah, it's like taking forever. Anyway, I'll figure it out. It's just like, you're trying to catch up on the videos that you haven't watched yet, and there's only so many hours in the day, and they keep adding more and more and more and more and more, and you're like, dude, stop recording. Stop putting out videos just for a day. And I don't want to watch anything on Wish Blossom Ranch until I have it, um, literally until I have it, because I want to be surprised. But then if there's something that I need to watch one of the videos to learn how to do, then, you know, I'll I'll watch the video, or I'll watch it after I've done. The funny thing is that sometimes I'll, you know, I will do something and then I'll watch their video, and I'm not doing it to be mean, but I'll start laughing because I'm like, oh, I got that one so easily. And, and, um, and, they're like really struggling. They don't know what to do. And it just, it makes me laugh because they're supposed to be like the guys who know how to do everything. Um, but like I said, it's not a malicious, like, haha, you can't do that. I would be totally willing to help them out if they needed help, kind of thing. The only problem is that one of them is in New York and the other one's in Nebraska? I don't know, somewhere around there. I don't know, I just know he's like a time zone ahead of me. And the other one's 2 time zones ahead of me. So, what the heck? What is that? I just looked down and there looks like, you know how kitty litter turns a different color when it's been used? Yeah, it looks like that. Hi! Luckily, we've got a dustpan, and it comes with the little broom thing. It's cute. If you want pets, you can come over and give me, and yeah, you can. Bobby's down. We're trying to be like, if she's down off of her cat tree, actually, pay attention to her, because she's supposed to be learning to be a cuddly kitty cat like everybody else in the house. She doesn't like the idea, but we're trying. She's just one of those cats that has a low, you can pet her for a little bit and then she gets overstimulated. So the way that she tells people that she's done being petted is she pretends that she's going to bite them. And if they don't stop petting her, that's what she does. And we don't like that. She's not, one of those evil cats who needs to be put down right now or anything like that. She just, has a low tolerance for being petted. Okay, because it overstimulates her or whatever. I'm coming up with that because that's what everybody calls it, and it's, overstimulation. And it's like, okay. I don't know if that's true or not, but it sounds good in this case. Okay. Just going to the end of the, see, you can barely see it right now, where it's, where the road is, it goes the other direction. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if I'm going to have granola or Frosted Flakes. The granola is a little too sugary. But I love it. And it was good for me, before my, it was good for me before my surgery because, I did not, I could not have bread products because, my stomach would get tied in knots so badly it was not comfortable. It was horrible. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Okay, I got 1 minute left. I don't think this whole thing's getting done in a minute. There. Okay. And then dum bum 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 dum bum bum bum. And then because it doesn't have the garage door, maybe still saying 10:59. Of course, I don't believe every single one of those videos where it's like, okay, it's 11. Yeah, it didn't get done in time, but it's not going to be too bad. Anyway, I was just thinking, I don't believe every single one of those videos where it's saying, the little girl was in the airport and she gave the signal to the security dogs and, they rescued her. I don't believe every single one of those situations actually happened. Okay, so what color is this? Okay, that is, we need the pink, right? Right. Okay. We're done for now. I've said all the stuff. So, I guess I will see you in the next stream or video. What? Why would I want to go to a friend of a friend's world?